Here we have Bitcoin versus the dollar, and we have a nice little dump-ola from the last 24 hours. We did hit, of course, our downside target for the short term at about 43.5 to 44,000 bucks. And then before I even woke up this morning, Bitcoin played out another $4,000 downside move to about just 40,000 even now. Now we are getting our a little bit of a bounce as we do start the stream, and I would be looking for this bounce to very likely test back up somewhere around short term about 43,500 or so based off the hourly. We do see some drives of phantom div coming off the low right here, and I do expect that this does have a little bit more to go on top of it, and we are accompanied by a pretty damn good jewel signal right here as well. 4 hour is also in not necessarily a bullish posturing here, no doubt about that, but we do see that this is coming down. Actually, if we go over here, this can be, I already have it in here. Yeah, this is coming down to the same levels that we have seen several times in the past, of which they have been very, interesting bounces. The last time that we did see was, this was back in early August. That was calling this low right here. Now, the low was retested a little bit after the initial bounce, but this bounce did carry it onwards and forwards over the next month or so for a 40% move, to be fair. Again, did get retested, so I expect that Bitcoin probably does throw another wick in around the downside before this is all said and done, regardless of whether you're bullish or bearish. Just the same as, I'm looking for a short-term bounce as well. So after that, probably does look for a little bit of a pullback. Other than that, we've really only tested this region on the 4-hour jewel, a few times in Bitcoin's history. Well, I wouldn't say a few times, but a handful of times. Last time, before that was 4th or 5th of September on this major low right here. Again, got retested a couple times, but that was the macro low before never going lower, and actually just playing out an almost 100% move over the next few months right there. Time before that we saw this region was when region right here on coronavirus dump times as well. Now, to be fair, it did test it a little bit before coronavirus dump times, and it actually did provide a nice bounce right here, to be fair. Off this low, did provide about a 10% bounce, but that was not the big one that you're looking for, obviously. The big one was coming off this one right here, which actually perfectly tested into that region, and then, well, that was essentially the low. Anyways, other than that, we do see this one over here. Again, did retest it over time, but initial move for about 20%, actually, not bad. And same thing on this one over here, and I imagine we have pretty much a similar move right there as well. Yeah, almost 20% on that one, and did eventually go up a little bit more over time as well. So I do look for a bounce from this region, regardless of whether you're bullish or bearish. If we go over here to momentum oscillators, I imagine that's going to be accompanied by that on the short-term timeframes. 4 hours is going to be up as long as above 41,720. Hourly is going to be up as long as we're above 42.1, and 12-hour will be actually down as long as below 46. The spot is the same thing. Yeah, about 48, actually even worse for the BULAs right there. And daily is going to be down as long as below about 44.5 or so. So, hey, if you do want some hopium, which we can talk about as well, if Bitcoin could close today back above 44.5, that would be a range reclaim, and this would actually look really, really good. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I do think we do rally up here somewhere around about 43.5 to maybe even 44,000 even. But as long as we're as long as we're below 44.5, I do retain, I just look for a general continuation of trend here. Anyways, with that said, 4-hour BBWP is on the ceiling. So, at best, I do think that we trade sideways and probably put in a bit of a short-term bounce. And then on top of that, I do want to address a few things as well. So we can talk about a bit of hopium right here, but please understand that it is hopium, and this is based off of the quarterly closure, which is coming at the end of this month in about 9 days. And that is first and foremost the quarterly right here, of which Bitcoin has a chance to do 2 things, in fact. If we do close above the topside Toronto band, well, I'd be looking for very likely similar results as in the past, and very likely a good end of year, actually. As long as Bitcoin's kind of trading above there, I do look at this as, a bull market still in motion, essentially. And right now, where is that currently sitting at? Just below 44,000 bucks, although I would say, just to be safe, 44.5 is where I'd be putting that, which is rather interesting because that's around the daily pivot right now as well. On top of that, we do see that in all Bitcoin bull markets, we have seen the quarterly wick lows always be higher than the prior, and so on and so forth, obviously. And with that said, we actually still have that condition being met over here. The wick low over here was 27,741. The wick low right here was 28,754. The wick low right here is 29,292. Very close to each other, but did not violate them. And you can backtest this yourself, obviously, as well. And you'll probably find the same results as myself. Anytime that Bitcoin does take out the prior quarterly wick low, that is your long-term corrective or, bear markets, if you want to call them that, right on over here, right in over here, right in over here, right in over here. Just a few times in history, but does keep you in the long-term macro moves. Is that relevant for people who are trading on short-term timeframes? Absolutely fucking not. On top of that, we also do still have, well, we got the fucking bull moon, but fuck the moons. But we have, more importantly, the hash ribbons indicator over here. Now, the hash ribbons indicator is very interesting to me, mostly because I did do an analysis on this, and there's been 17 iterations of them, 16 of which have performed in this current manner, where as soon as you get the blue buy signal, the prior daily low to that blue buy signal was the macro low before never closing below there on a higher term time frame ever again. The only iteration where that did not work out was March 2020, coronavirus dumb times. Anyways, I also did an analysis on how close on average those wick or those lows get tested, and it came out to be 7%. Well, just so happens that on Bitcoin's low yesterday, we do see that this one comes in pretty much right around 7% actually, from wick low to prior low. Rather interesting. So I'll just leave that right there. Of course, I should come up with an invalidation on the other side for the short-term bounce idea right here. And it's actually very, very simple. Below about 42,000 bucks, I would be looking for this one to put in another run somewhere down around the current wick low that we saw from actually this morning. And then you got to put on your hard hats yet again, because if Bitcoin wants to break, well, probably going to see somewhere down around about 38,000 bucks. And while I do think things would bounce around 38,000 bucks, if we do violate this condition, I would look for a full-on move all the way down to the prior gap from late July on CME between about 32 to 33,000 bucks before the next legitimate long-term bounce. Of course, there's going to be bounces along the ways, but for right now, bounce first, decide later. If Bitcoin can reclaim 44.5, I suppose I'd be bullish, but until then, the trend is your friend. And what do we have right here? We have a downtrend. We identified this and confirmed this over the weekend with Bitcoin taking out the 47,500 level right here, which was my invalidation, and in conditions for continuation to the downside, we got that. And of course, the bear trap idea is obviously very much well, I mean, it never got hit is the problem with that. So 49.5 was obviously protected, and we put in a lower high right there. And also, if you do want to be looking at the weekly right here, we do see that, of course, we do have, well, what appears to be a lower high on the weekly as well. So this week is going to be very, very important, and then the end of the month is going to be very, very important. But for right now, just playing the short-term timeframes does look like bounce first, decide later, see what the response is. If Bitcoin even gets to 44,000 bucks, and then we'll come back after that. I wouldn't be surprised to see a move up somewhere around 44, and then very likely another try towards the downside, maybe somewhere around about 41, maybe even 40,000 bucks even, and then come back after that. So hopefully that was very helpful, and I'll be signing off now, and until next time.